It's your time, baby. It's your time. It's your time.
Married to the Ring, the fastest growing minority women-owned relationship coaching organization in the world. Bringing marriages back to the forefront of the globe.
Ding, ding. Stop facing off with each other. Flip the us versus the world. Deeper connection discovered. Ding, ding. Married to the ring.
Married to the ring.
Married to the ring.
Yeah, honey, dedicated to the ring. You're supposed to be dedicated, instead you faded. With a love you're supposed to bring, with a happy home, with a place of safety. I'm in no cold with no cold and you chase me back to a deep dark spot. I call on God, that's all that we got. We in the real best spot. I see the rain from the drop. I see the rain in the storm. We don't even make love no more. We don't even kiss like we used to. We don't even care. Can instead now we kick down them doors. I don't even know why I'm with you. We don't even take pictures. Abusive and mean, cold-hearted. No dream dedicated to one thing. Like we not dedicated to the ring.
Ding. Married to the ring right here. We got a blueprint now, so the way is clear. Ding, ding. Stop facing off with each other. Flip the us versus the world. Deeper connection discovered. Ding, ding. Married to the ring.
Married to the ring.
Married to the ring.
Okay, can't divide a fool in his pride. When her lie bound to break the vow to his bride. Tried to hold back tears in my eyes when I realized I'm the why you dying inside. I'm hiding the truth. I'm only alive cause of you. My life was on the line, you came through. Instead of gratitude, all I gave you was attitude. I made an issue of your moves and drove you to solitude. Notice me, been hurting all the while, yelling, woe it's me. Now my wife's in the cold, all alone in the car with my kids. In this ring don't mean a single thing. I need her back in my life, would you intervene? Cause where her heart used to be is now a deep ravine. Supposed to love her like Christ, love the church, and what hurts me the worst is I'm a king that's without his queen. Only married to the ring.
Married to the ring right here. We got a blueprint now, so the way is clear. Ding, ding. Stop facing off with each other. Flip the us versus the world. Deeper connection discovered. Ding, ding. Married to the ring right here. We got a blueprint now, so the way is clear. Ding, ding. Stop facing off with each other. Flip the us versus the world. Deeper connection discovered. Ding, ding. Married to the ring. Married to the ring. Married to the ring.
Ding, ding. Married to the ring. Married to the ring. Married to the ring.
It's your time, baby. It's your time. It's your time.
Married to the Ring, the fastest growing minority women-owned relationship coaching organization in the world. Bringing marriages back to the forefront of the globe.
Ding, ding. Stop facing off with each other. Flip the us versus the world. Deeper connection discovered. Ding, ding. Married to the ring.
Married to the ring.
Married to the ring.
Yeah, honey, dedicated to the ring. You're supposed to be dedicated, instead you faded. With a love you're supposed to bring, with a happy home, with a place of safety. I'm in no cold with no cold and you chase me back to a deep dark spot. I call on God, that's all that we got. We in the real best spot. I see the rain from the drop. I see the rain in the storm. We don't even make love no more. We don't even kiss like we used to. We don't even care. Can instead now we kick down them doors. I don't even know why I'm with you. We don't even take pictures. Abusive and mean, cold-hearted. No dream dedicated to one thing. Like we not dedicated to the ring.
Ding. Married to the ring right here. We got a blueprint now, so the way is clear. Ding, ding. Stop facing off with each other. Flip the us versus the world. Deeper connection discovered. Ding, ding. Married to the ring.
Married to the ring.
Married to the ring.
Okay, can't divide a fool in his pride. When her lie bound to break the vow to his bride. Tried to hold back tears in my eyes when I realized I'm the why you dying inside. I'm hiding the truth. I'm only alive cause of you. My life was on the line, you came through. Instead of gratitude, all I gave you was attitude. I made an issue of your moves and drove you to solitude. Notice me, been hurting all the while, yelling, woe it's me. Now my wife's in the cold, all alone in the car with my kids. In this ring don't mean a single thing. I need her back in my life, would you intervene? Cause where her heart used to be is now a deep ravine. Supposed to love her like Christ, love the church, and what hurts me the worst is I'm a king that's without his queen. Only married to the ring.
Married to the ring right here. We got a blueprint now, so the way is clear. Ding, ding. Stop facing off with each other. Flip the us versus the world. Deeper connection discovered. Ding, ding. Married to the ring right here. We got a blueprint now, so the way is clear. Ding, ding. Stop facing off with each other. Flip the us versus the world. Deeper connection discovered. Ding, ding. Married to the ring, married to the ring, married to the ring.
Hey, this is your gal, Tanya Williamson, the Chief Visionary Officer of Married to the Ring. I am super duper excited to be here on today to just share with you a special gift of love that's joining us on today by ways of Congo Watson. Yes, that's her name, Iesha Congo Watson. The topic that we're going to cover today is Through the Loss of Our Child, a journey of love, grief, and resilience. And I just want to share something with you that's very important because, as you know, at Married to the Ring, we teach individuals how to knock those giants that have plagued their love life, the ultimate knockout blow. And it doesn't matter what you go through in life, you still can thrive. So, in this deeply moving podcast, because I know it's going to be deeply moving because this is a very sensitive topic, we will delve into the profound impact of losing a child in marriage. And in this conversation, we will also explore the different ways Aisha navigated through this devastating loss, the challenges she has had to face, and also the big word, resilience, how she was able to discover that resilience within herself. But before we do that, I just want to quote some statistics out there for you guys. And I just want to let you know that each year, an estimated 150,000 children in the United States experience the death of a parent or a sibling. So when Aisha starts to go into her story, you're going to see the effect it had over her entire family. And approximately 75% of couples who lose a child will experience marital problems within the first year of the loss. But I have to honestly say the reason why she's sitting on our platform today is because she championed uh the marital challenges, and I believe she got a husband that just listen, he loves her so much. And then about 20%, not 25, but 20% of couples who lose a child will divorce within 5 years of the loss. So, this topic today, is really to help the couple who is struggling right now at this very moment. Just to let you know, you don't have to throw in the towel. You can definitely stay in the fight. So I'm gonna go ahead and allow, my girl Aisha to introduce herself to you. Aisha, go ahead. Tell them what you about, who you are, where you from.
My name is Iesha Congo Watson. I am from Wilmington, Delaware. I am a minister, a motivational speaker. I am the founder of Beauty for Ashes Ministry Incorporated. I am also the founder of the Jaden Earl Foundation. I am a motivational speaker and an author. I recently published a book called A Walk Through the Valley, which talks about my journey through grief and healing. I also have a journal to accompany that book. And I recently published a affirmations journal called A Dose a Day. So that is who I am, and that is what I've been doing in a quick little summary, if you will.
My gosh, what haven't you done? I mean, it sounds like, I'm going to highlight the one that's near and dear to me right now is Jaden's Foundation, right? So I need to put a shameless plug in here right now because there's something that you're about to have. I know we're going to get into your story, but I want our audience to know, especially since this drops on Monday, I want to know how they can support Jaden Foundation.
Yes, so the Jaden Earl Foundation is in memory of my son, Jaden Earl, who passed November the 4th of 2021. He actually was my second child within 4 years who passed. So in honor of him, and with it being the coming up on his 18th birthday, I decided to do an inaugural ball. So we are hosting, the foundation is hosting a sneaker ball. So you can come out, you can celebrate not only the foundation and give to the foundation, but also celebrate the memory and the fact that Jaden would be 18 this year. And that is on March the 30th at the Claymont Ballroom. So that's what we have as our first foundation fundraiser for the Jaden Earl Foundation.
Wow, wow, wow. That is amazing. The sneaker ball, the sneaker ball. So we're gonna go ahead and get in. I want y'all to support that sneaker ball in Claymont, Delaware, or those of you who are viewing across the globe. But when you watch this video, I'll be able to share some links where would be able to donate throughout the course of the year for the Jaden Earl Foundation to be able to help. Do you mind if I ask, is it scholarships for other families, or what's the contributions used for?
The contribution is used for the fundraisers and for sports sponsorships, scholarships, and outreach. Because our intention is, or my intention is, to provide families with resources and with things. And when I think about it, I think of all the things that Jaden would have been doing this year. Like he would have been getting ready to go to college. He was into sports. So this is the spring sports season. So I want to sponsor a child that may be interested in basketball. He was great at lacrosse and golf. So sponsor some type of sports activity that may be coming up for a family that may not be able to afford it. I know that with college tuition, it's expensive. We may not, of course, we're not going to be able to pay tuition, but we can contribute to maybe just the initial application and, books and things like that. So we just want to be a help. And then when it comes back to school being in a session, I want to do a book bag drive. I want to do, Christmas drives, because I think of all the things that my son would have been nagging me about. Mom, can you buy me some sneakers? Mom, can you sign me up for this? Mom, I got this going on. Mom, I need this. So I just think of all the things that I would have wanted to give to my son, that I want to be able to give to as many families as I can. So that is our goal and our mission with the Jaden Earl Foundation, as far as accepting any donations. But the overall mission is for us to help with mental health and suicide prevention. So that's, focused on young adults, specifically males, but we're not only targeting males, because we understand that this is a big issue, a big thing that's targeting our youth and young adults.
Yes.
So I want to be able to provide a list of resources, specifically with mentors and mental health providers, because that was the biggest challenge, was being able to find a fit for my son that he felt comfortable talking to, a therapist or someone that would be able to engage him and getting reacclimated with society or, the public after being in mental health institutions. Like that was our reality. That's what we were faced with in a short amount of time. It stemmed from the fact that he was home from school because of the pandemic. But then we were faced with so many things because he was dealing with his own personal grief, because my daughter passed in 2018. So here he was trying to understand as a young child, because he passed at the age of 15 in 2021. So here he was trying to deal with just growing pains, and just the stages of life that he was going through as a young male, trying to champion life, trying to figure out life, on top of the fact that he lost a sibling and suddenly, and it was so many things that that just affected his life and our family. So at this point, we are wanting to make sure that another family can be provided with resources and just get through the things that they need to get through as they're grieving and going through the grief journey. So that's our focus with the Jaden Earl Foundation, primarily is for mental health and suicide prevention.
So, first of all, I want to thank you for sharing the information, and I want to thank you for sharing Jaden Earl's story with us as a mother. And I want to thank you because that ties into your resilience to say, okay, although this is what took place in my son's life, this is now how I'm championing the cause for other youth life. And
Yes.
suicide is one of the biggest things with the young adult population today. So I totally, totally concur with you. And I do want our audience, I had to put that out there because I wanted our audience right now just to make sure that you guys are sewing, and we'll make sure we have those links. She has the sneaker ball, but there's sports. So there's definitely some sports organizations that we can work in collaboration with in order to help her with the ongoing support here. So we're going to go ahead and delve into the interview. But I did need to put in that shameless plug because if I'm not mistaken, he just had a birthday.
It's coming up on March the 28th. And
March
the
the 28th.
yes,
Yes.
yes,
So he has a birthday that's coming up, right? And in addition to that, they're having a sneaker ball and they
yes,
want to save another child's life.
yes.
That's most important. So that's amazing. So as we start to go in, I want you to name two unique challenges that you faced because you didn't lose one child, you lost two,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
so what was the unique challenge that you faced first with your spouse? And then second with you still have other children.
Yeah.
So can you elaborate there?
So, the reality with loss or with grief is that everybody grieves uniquely. So, even with us being a married couple losing the same child, well, same children, we definitely grieved differently. Um, so, the hardest thing was, or the biggest challenge was for us to be able to understand the place that we each were in at whatever time that was, because with grief you just never know what's going to trigger an emotion or when it's going to completely like ambush you. And most people may know that some people deal with their emotions externally and some people deal with their emotions internally. So you have just, and it's normally like women deal with their emotions externally, men deal with their emotions internally. So what we had was one person trying to be strong for the other, primarily my husband trying to be strong for me, and then me trying to understand, or us trying to understand all at the same time, how we were feeling, how we were supposed to address each other, and even understand what we were going through. So that was the biggest challenge, is like, how am I supposed to deal with my own emotions and be sensitive to yours? Or what is it that you're going to need from me so that you can grieve the way you need to grieve without it being any tension? So that's what we were faced with. Like, how are we going to do this? How am I going to do it? And I say specifically because some of the things that were comforting to my husband or what he needed at the time wasn't what I needed. For instance, or for example, my husband went to the daycare that my daughter went to probably the next week. I couldn't even ride past the street. And the daycare didn't have anything to do with my daughter passing. It was just that I couldn't face anything that had to do with my daughter because it brought about an emotion that I couldn't understand, I couldn't control. And so it just made me overly emotional. So if I could avoid, I was going to. And I felt like part of me was just like I was living outside of my body. So I couldn't function. I didn't go back to work. My husband immediately went back to work. At the time he was working for a church. So that worked for him. So he kept active. And it probably wasn't until almost 9 months later that my husband had a moment that triggered him, that made him completely shut down. And then I had to immediately jump in and be strong for him. So those were the unique challenges, is how can I deal with my grief and understand what you're going through as well, and understand that we love the same child, we love the same children, but grief is completely different for everybody, even within the same family. So those were our challenges, is like, how can I let you feel your grief and be in your moment of emotions without being overwhelmed with mine, or being insensitive to the facts, or being insensitive. That's what we were faced with. That was the biggest challenge.
And not to mention, you're having to deal with your individual grief. You have to deal with the two of you guys' grief collectively. And then not only did you have to deal with that, but you also had to recognize that you still had children that
Yes.
were alive, and you had to deal with their grief. Now, I just want to ask, because I'm a mama,
Hmm.
you know, and you're a mother,
Yes.
and it's a little different because if you carry that child, right? It's a different type of bond. It doesn't take away from the father or the
Absolutely.
bond that they have, but as a mother with the children remaining, did you ever face any challenges where you felt like you just wanted to be left alone? You know, or did you feel like you wanted to just continue to hover over your children that are still alive in an overprotective way? What kind of reaction did you give to them?
It was a mixture of both. Initially, I was in a dark place. I was severely depressed initially. But then everything in me needed to protect my children. Everything in me was a little afraid of, could this happen again? So sometimes I had those unrealistic thoughts, or those in the back of my mind, like, what if something was going, what if something could happen to another one of my children? So of course, this was initially when my daughter passed. That was my biggest fear. Like, I couldn't imagine
Mhm.
losing another child, and unfortunately I did. So the reality is now is that I like probably over mothered them, or I still do. I'm not going to say did. I probably over mother them. So I have those moments where when they don't answer their cell phone, I sometimes I panic. I'm going to be honest. But I realized that because I had other children, that nobody else could mother them the way I could, because those were my babies. So I realized that was what got me to get up out of that dark place, because I'm like, I have to figure this thing out. Like, I have to love on my children. I have to love on my husband, because this is my family. Like,
Mhm.
I have to do it. God gave me these children, gave me this family. So I have to figure this thing out.
Mhm.
And, by the grace of God, um, through prayer, through meditation, um, I was able to just find comfort and solace in the fact that God is the best of planners and he doesn't make any mistakes. So God is going to carry me through this, because he bought me. He bought me here. He brought me to this moment in time in life, and he's going to carry me through. So I had to get up to be able to be a mother and a wife. That's what I was here for, and that's what I was going to do. Because what how would it help my children if I wasn't there for them? Then they would be experiencing another loss.
Mm.
And I couldn't allow that to happen for them. I couldn't allow them to experience another loss that they would never be able to understand.
Mm. 'Cause they're already it's not normal,
Right,
right?
right,
In some instances, it's still not normal to lose one child, right?
right.
It's not normal, right? But to you lose two in such a short period of time, it's there's no words, right? And so, that really speaks to the resilience, like your backup. You got a journal. You got a book. Every time I turn around, I was like, okay, what is she launching now? And she got another item, right? And that's a good thing, right? That's a very good thing, because this is where you're channeling. You lost and you replace. And oftentimes, some people don't realize you have to replace something positive from the loss that you've experienced, so that you can level out I would say the mental capacity as well as your self-care. So I would say, share with our audience, two strategies that you've used to successfully keep your marriage together, even when you have times where you've recognized triggers, you know, like when your spouse is triggered or if you're triggered. What strategies do you currently use? Could you share with our audience that?
So the strategies that I use, one is to give yourself grace, yourself and your spouse, extend grace. Understand that you're going to have those weak moments. Understand that you're going to have those ball of emotions, and you may be even irritable or resistant at times, but it's nothing personal. So extend grace. Give them that time to feel and be in that moment. So that's one thing. The second thing is to be intentional. What me and my husband had to decide to do, we had to be intentional about our connection. So what we decided to do, we saw something that said 222, and it was you would do 2 weeks, or within 2 weeks, we would have a date night. Within 2 months, we would spend the night, overnight somewhere. And the other one was 2 years. We don't necessarily follow the 2 years, but 2 years take a long vacation with just, with just the two of us. So we've been intentional about dating each other and making sure that we're not neglecting the needs of each other, and that
Mhm.
again, that we're extending grace. So that's been our thing. And I'm not gonna lie, it was hard in the beginning because it was just like, well, what do we talk about? Because we don't necessarily want to bring it up, or at least I didn't want to bring up what our current reality was or what our current challenges were. But that was that was our life. That was our new normal. So it was like, how do you come together to talk about how we're going to keep going if we don't talk about what's going on? So we had to find a place where we could just enjoy each other's company and
Mhm.
find things that would allow us to laugh and to love and to just enjoy the space that we were in without
Mhm.
feeling the pressures of being mom and dad, and not necessarily husband and wife. Like, we had to figure out how to just be first Aisha and Damien. And then once we were Aisha and Damien, then we had to date each other. Like, we honestly had to figure out, like, okay, what is it that makes you happy? We really had to
Mhm.
figure that out. Like, what's going to make you happy? What's going to keep you happy so we can continue to be in a happy, loving marriage? Like, we had to be intentional about those things. That was the main thing that we had to do, is be intentional about what we were willing to do and what was important for us to do to save our marriage. Because if we would have let our emotions override, or if we would have tried to avoid the emotions, then we also would have been avoiding each other. So we had to be intentional, and we had to be, to extend grace. That was the two big things.
So becoming intentional looks like, give them an example. So for instance, was that journaling? Was that doing meetups outside of your date night to say, here's a plan and this is what we're going to follow? Get Share with us, what that really looked like.
So we didn't do any journaling together, but that may have looked like, oh, okay, I'm going to text you during the day and I'm going to say, hey, I found this place and we're going to go on a date on Friday at such time. So we were prepared as if we were going to, like we were a single couple dating, or, a newly dating couple. So we would prepare a date in a time. It wasn't just kind of like, hey, do you want to go out to a movie? It was, we are going to go try this new restaurant. We're going to
Mhm.
try this new, and it may have even been in another state. We're going to go try this new experience together so we can enjoy some time together. So we can kind of get away from the mundane things of life and enjoy each other, because that's what's important. So we were scheduling a date. So it's like, if we went on a date this Saturday, then 2 weeks from now, we already need to have a plan for another date. Like, let's go through this list. Normally it would be Facebook. It's like, okay, I seen an event on Facebook. Let me see if we
Mhm.
go do. So it would be like a murder mystery. Um, something like that, something different where it wasn't
Yeah.
like axe throwing, something like that.
Axe throwing. I haven't done that yet. I was invited to do that, but I'm like, I'm like, good Lord, is something gonna happen to me while I'm there? No, I know. But I understand that being adventurous is what stimulates men, right?
Yeah.
I
Yes.
really being adventurous is what stimulates, because oftentimes men are fixers, right? And
Yes.
so as a direct result of that, you know, sometimes they don't know how to tap into that interpersonal side, you know, and it could make them even feel more uncomfortable because they're already trying to grieve.
Hmm.
And depending upon their experience as a child, if they were told,
Absolutely.
no, you're not supposed to cry,
Yeah.
then they're dealing with a whole nother set of elements there. Um, so I want you to close this topic today by just sharing, I guess, the importance of seeking support and resources. Because and I want you to take your time right here. Like, I know you're sharing some good nuggets, but
Yeah.
what I admire about you, and I will tell anyone that's watching, do not put yourself in Aisha's shoes, right?
Mm-mm. You don't
Don't
want.
even say, I wanna, like, I don't even, what we are to do is we are supposed to sit on the sidelines and raise our hands and be like, okay, well, how can I help? Right. So in this instance, I've watched Aisha host her grief canceling sessions, start a grief sharing program, and that's why I was saying share the importance of seeking support and resources. But what I like to say, Aisha, I'm that girl over here that just want to own all my stuff, right?
Right.
So I say, where there's adversity, there's opportunity to soar. So if it came to me, I'm equipped to handle it. And what I believe you've done is you've taken the pain and you have converted it into building lasting legacy, not only for your life, but for the lives of others. What resources? I want you to share the resources that you have. Share the resources because I hate attending resources where I can't be real. Like the speaker doesn't relate to me. Like you have no experience in this space, all right?
Right. Right.
But you have experience in this space.
Unfortunately.
So yeah, it's unfortunately, but fortunately to reach the masses, which is what Jaden would have wanted, which is
Hmm.
what your daughter would have wanted. So it's not a fortunate situation, but just imagine on the other side how many lives you're saving for that one life, right?
Hmm.
So share, the resources that you actually have created and the platforms that you've created for individuals who have experienced the loss, I would say, of a child, a loss of a child. I think, was it not even 2 weeks ago, one of my dear friends lost her daughter, and it just was gut wrenching for me, right? Uh, but I want you to share what resources because she may very well watch this, and those resources that you have, you put on your post the other day. Despise not small beginnings.
Right.
You not small, girl. You big. You understand what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
so, share with them the resources you have.
So the first resource that I have, or I'm not going to say the first resource, but one of the resources that I have is the Beauty for Ashes Ministry Incorporated. That was actually founded in 2019 after the passing of my daughter. With that, like I said, I had to figure out how to get up from the depression. I had to figure out how to get up. And not that I didn't have the resources or that I wasn't seeing other mothers, but I needed to see another mother that, like you said, that I could identify with. I needed to be able to see someone that got up and got over the challenges. So from there, after talking, to my pastor and speaking with, having my time of prayer and talking to God, and God showed me that I needed to create something for other women. And I remember going to the altar at church, and my assistant pastor said, you have to exchange ashes for beauty. And I looked that up and I found the scripture and I meditated on that. And I told my pastor, I said, I need to start a group for women. And my pastor said, well, write down your mission. So from there, I sat on it, and God gave me some scriptures that I could include with my mission statement. And of course, it's the one that talks about beauty for ashes. It talks about iron sharpening iron. It talks about, God being a comforter and never leaving us nor forsaking us. Those were the scriptures that were downloaded within me. And I was able to come up with a women's empowerment group. And with that, the main focus, of course, was a grief support session, because I wanted to let women exchange the pains and burdens of life with the promises of God. That was my focus. From there, I realized that it was bigger than just that. God was showing me that it wasn't just about the grief, it was about the healing process. And so many people are grieving so many other things, not just the loss of children, or just like you said before, how we grieve may be the direct result of how we were raised or our beliefs. So now we have to deal with that inner person. We have to deal with the whole person first. So within the outreach ministry or empowerment ministry, there are programs and seminars and sessions for women for self-esteem building, relationship building, because again, it's needful to understand how you deal with relationships so you can, one, deal with either your spouse or even deal with anybody that you encounter while you're going through grief. So that's important. So we do, again, self-esteem seminars. We do relationship building seminars, and of course, the grief support sessions. Now, at this time, we are using griefshare.org, which is a national program. So we use their online resources. But since then, I have been able to write the book, A Walk Through the Valley, which I offer 4 strategies. So within that book, I offer 4 strategies, and I offer a journal for you to be able to deal with the emotions, again, because God showed me that it's so much more than me just talking about my grief. It's me talking about what it takes to heal, and understanding that even though you may get to a place of where you think you're healed, letting people know what healing looks like. Because that's like when you've gotten a surgery and you heal, you still have that scar. Or when you gotten surgery and you still may have those aches and pains occasionally because you may have needed to get a pin in your arm or a pin in your leg or whatever, replacement. You're still going to have that pain, which means you're still going to be faced with the emotions. But I want to be a resource that women can come to. And I want to be, my ultimate goal is to be a holistic resource hub for women. Like, that's my ultimate goal. And that was, again, a ministry that was birthed out of the pain that I was going through with losing my daughter in 2000. She passed in 2018. It wasn't until 2019 that I launched it, because I had to understand what I was even faced with, what I was even dealing with to put these thoughts together. Because understand that the devil will play games with your mind if you let him. So I said, I can't be silent. I can't lay here. I have to give my testimony, because my pain produced purpose. So I have to share with other women what it looks like, what it feels like. And I also had to give a voice to my daughter. I had to be able to write that, to give that narrative, to write that story, because there were so many things that we were faced with when she passed suddenly that I talk about in the book. And so many challenges that we were faced with. So that was why it was important for me to be able to be a resource for other women that may have been going through something similar to what we faced during that time, directly as well as emotionally. So that's the reason why it was important. And then going through that, and getting to a place of going through therapy, because it's definitely important to go through therapy. So I had to be in a place where I had a good sense of um, faith and beliefs. Um, and I also had to be able to get to a place to be able to unpack all of those thoughts. So I had to go through a therapist. Me and my husband, we went separately because that was what we needed, because we had to unpack everything, all the thoughts, because again, just like you said, as a mother, it's a different feeling to carry a child, to labor with this child, and then to lose a child. It's a different feeling. Not to, not to discredit my husband's emotions, but it's a whole different feeling. And then with my son, he is actually not my husband's biological child, but he has been in his life a significant amount of time that he has, he shaped him. He had an impact on his life. And we honestly said that, and not, we loved our children equally, but we both honestly said that this was a whole different feeling. And I think part of it was because the age in which my son passed, that was number one. The way in which my son passed, that's number two. So we were just, it was something, it was indescribable. Like, it still is indescribable. But it's just the fact that, like, we're always waiting for him to walk through the door. We're always waiting for him to run down the steps. We're always waiting for the phone call to say that I need to be picked up from track practice. I need to be picked up from lacrosse practice. We're waiting for the text messages to ask for $5. Like, we're always waiting for that. So it's a really difficult situation. But again, I needed to be able to create his story. I needed to be able to tell his narrative. Nobody else could tell that story for him, or nobody should tell his story, because I didn't want anybody else to put any stigma on him or to put anything on him that wasn't his truth. So I needed to be the one to give his story. And with that, I understood that he had so much to give. So I'm using the Jaden Earl Foundation to share his story and to let his life and legacy continue. One of the things that I put on his obituary, I put on his marker, and I put as part of the slogan for the Jaden Earl Foundation is, "We still win."
That's right.
You're still a winner. We still win.
That's right. That's right. What's amazing about your resilience is, in the sets of all mothers, there's a process, you know, and people think, oh, I just want this to go away and I'm gonna
No.
heal overnight. No, this is going to be a continual healing process. And I have to commend you by using the Grief Share resources that are available only through individuals like yourself that
Mhm.
are ministries or organizations that are established. It isn't something that you can purchase as an individual, so you
Right.
definitely have to go and sign up with an organization that you hosted. And Aisha saying she is one of those organizations that hosted. I've had to go through Grief Share, and feelings that you go through. While I haven't lost a child, I have lost a child at birth, but that it's still a little, to me, losing a child, period, is a process. And no
Absolutely.
one wants to, and no one wants to really talk about. You kind of like, suppress it. And when I had you come on here, I was thinking, I haven't publicly shared my story,
Mhm.
and you know, I've learned how to navigate through it,
Mhm.
but I realized it was not any different because I still had to live with it,
Absolutely.
and so as a direct result, it's just simply amazing to watch your resilience and watch how you are able to now pour into the lives of other women, you know, and pour into the lives of other men because when they go home, it positively affects their marriages.
Absolutely.
And I want to just commend you on so many levels because in such a short period of time, you've been able to deploy so many things, right? And while going through and still managing grief, right?
Yes.
And, and I want to commend Damien, I think I said his name correct, your husband,
Mhm.
for the same and allowing you to have the space to be able to now trailblaze the market,
Yeah.
with hitting other, impacting other women. Where can, where can my audience find you, and where can they purchase your books?
So I do have a website. It's www.ieshacongowatson.com. So it's my full name. That is the best place to go to because it has has all of the information, the links to purchase the books, my personal contacts of how to reach me, and information pertaining to my works and my purpose and my mission. So I would just say go to www.ieshacongowatson.com so you can have all the links and the information. But of course, I'm on social media platforms. I'm on Facebook. It is my name, Iesha Congo Watson. I do have a Beauty for Ashes ministry page on Facebook as well, and it's linked. So those are the ways that you can reach me.
Is there anything that you would say, some words of inspiration too? Because as you were talking, I was like, dag, there's a few mothers this year that I know have lost children. And I just recalled, my cousin in the tragic passing of her son as well this year. But what would you say to a mother right now who is going through this, but she has literally reached a dark spot and she doesn't know how to pull herself out? What would you say to her right now?
The first thing I would say is give yourself time. Don't rush the feelings, don't rush the emotions. That's number one. Seek God, seek support, but understand that it's okay not to be okay. So, extend yourself the same amount of grace that you would extend somebody else, but allow yourself to fully feel. Don't rush yourself through it because it can be more harmful if you don't allow yourself the time to feel, feel all of the emotions and understand that God's grace is sufficient. So in your weak moments, God is strong and God is there for you. So that's the main thing that I would want to tell them is that just allow yourself to feel. And if it gets to a place where you are overwhelmed with emotion to the point that um, that you feel stuck, then definitely seek help. It's healthy. It's
Hmm.
healthy to seek professional help, and it's okay to pray and get a prescription.
You didn't said,
I
listen, you
mean,
didn't drop the mic there. It's okay to
listen,
pray and get a prescription.
yeah.
Because I went through a situation and I have to thank you for saying that. I went through a situation and people don't understand that trauma, because grief is trauma. It's a
Mhm,
life event that happens. Depending
absolutely.
upon the psychological effect that it has on the brain, there are things that are happening that can cause your brain to race,
Yes,
and
yes.
and you and you can't control it really.
No.
You have to, because the brain experience shock, right?
Mhm.
So you have to go get a prescription. And when I remember, I told the doctor, can I just get a little bit, because I don't want to be on drugs, like, and they gave me a little dose. But boy, I'm not gonna lie to you, when they gave me a dose, it really helped the healing process
Mhm.
expedite. because my head wasn't, or my mind wasn't in overdrive.
Right, right,
Right?
right.
It wasn't in overdrive. And I totally, totally agree with you. If you need to get a little bit of prescription, go get some so you can
Mhm,
stay the course so that your brain can rewire properly, right?
mhm. Yep.
So I want to thank you, Aisha. I've been waiting for this interview, girl. I've been waiting for this interview, and I want to thank you because I'm so proud of you. You know, I want you to keep up the great work. I want my audience to definitely, you guys follow Aisha Congo Watson on all of her platforms as well as her website. And I look forward to talking to you guys
Thank you for
again.
having me. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome.